This video is intended to inform viewers of how the San Diego Unified School District is funded, how the district plans for and spends the funds received, and how all stakeholders can be involved to educate the over 100,000 students who attend our schools.
The school district receives several different types of funding from both the federal government and the state. Most of this funding is restricted for very specific purposes. A few examples of these funds are School Nutrition Fund, used for feeding eligible students, Child Development Fund, used to provide preschool classes for eligible students, Building Fund, used for capital improvements and new school buildings.
The main funding source is the general fund. Our district currently receives approximately $1.3 billion in the general fund. This includes approximately $999 million of LCFF funding. The balance is restricted funding, which must be used for specific purposes such as special education, Title I and Title II, and many other programs.
The LCFF, approved in 2014, is divided into 3 levels: the base grant, supplemental grant, and the concentration grant. Each of the levels provide funding for specific purposes. The base grant establishes funding for all students, while the supplemental and concentration grants provide for additional funding for English learners, low-income, and foster youth students.
These funds are then distributed to school sites and allocated centrally to support the students district-wide according to the Local Control and Accountability Plan.
The Local Control and Accountability Plan, or LCAP, is a critical part of California's local control funding formula, LCFF. The LCAP is a 3-year district-level plan that is updated annually. The plan describes our district's key goals for students, as well as the specific actions our district will take to achieve the goals and the metrics used to measure the progress.
The budgeting process sometimes holds numerous challenges, including lower than expected enrollment, rising costs of operations, and yearly employee salary increases. It is also driven by numerous statutory timelines.
One of the first timeline issues is to staff schools for each incoming school year.
Each December, the school district must predict and plan for budget deficits and submit a plan to address the deficits to the County Office of Education. This is 6.5 months prior to the final budget being adopted.
If any staffing reductions are predicted, these notifications must be provided by March 15th each year, 3.5 months prior to the final budget being adopted.
And finally, by March 15th, the district must legally issue preliminary notes to permanent and final notices to probationary certificated employees. This is still 1 to 2 months before the final budget is adopted.
The district values stakeholder input, and there are many opportunities for you to be involved. There are monthly district advisory committee meetings, regular school site council and site governance team meetings, and high school cluster meetings for stakeholders to provide input to the budgeting process. We invite you to participate in all that you are able.
For more information, please visit www.sandy.net/LCAP.